Hello guys, this is Juan here. Thank you so much for showing up, for watching this video. And today we have a very, and I mean very special guest, probably the most special guest anyone can have in the world these days. His name is Andy Shaw. And Andy, I mean, you have reached and helped people in 130 countries already. That's massive. And you know all these big names like, you know, Napoleon Hill, Thomas Edison, I don't know, some of these big names, and that these people are recognized pretty much after, and they have left a legacy pretty much, and people recognize that and acknowledge that after these people passed away, and they actually value that knowledge right now, again, like centuries or decades after, you know, they passed away. And I actually feel very privileged and honored for having this interview with you, because I know that you're going to leave a huge, an even greater legacy for everyone in the future. We're going to explain what Andy's doing, what he's all about. And as I said to you, 130 countries already, okay? That's, anyway. So yes, he can help you, all right? Now, very important. Watch every single minute of this interview, because Andy will give you simple action steps to take today that can help you on the way to creating your dream lifestyle, okay? So watch this interview. I promise you it won't be boring at all. Now, Andy, who the hell are you anyway? I know who you are, but just explain to us, people who don't know you yet. Who are you, and tell us a bit about yourself and your background, please.
Sure. My journey, I'm quite a successful entrepreneur sort of thing, I suppose you'd call me. Other people will refer to me as, rather. But basically, I teach people how to get the maximum out of their mind. And that's basically what I do. It all started for me when I was 13 years old. My great uncle Dave asked me a series of questions, asked me and my brother a series of questions. I answered them one way, my brother answered them another. My brother was given a fiver to go elsewhere, go and get an ice lolly. And I had to, my uncle Dave said to me, he said, I'm going to give you something much more valuable. I'm going to tell you your future. You're going to be a millionaire, you're going to have a great life, and you're just going to have everything you want in life come to you. And so I went out from that point on thinking I was going to become this millionaire and have a great life, and all the people I'd need would come to me. And I started in business when I was 23 years old, long time ago. And we had success and more success and that sort of thing. And then but I hadn't got really rich. I hadn't become the millionaire. Then I think I was about 34, and I suddenly realized I hadn't become rich. And so I sat down and set myself I intended to become a millionaire within 2 years. And so I set myself on this ridiculous goal, because that is a ridiculous goal. And 6 months later, just over 6 months later, I was a millionaire. 2 weeks after that, I was a multi-millionaire. And that year I made over 10 million or something like that. And we never looked back from that point. We just went from success to success. Each business was more successful and that sort of thing. I mean, the first business I got into, we had over 100 employees. By now we'd sort of managed to make more money with a lot less employees and all that sort of thing. And then I discovered online marketing, in 2005, I think it was, 2004. And I became fascinated by the fact that you didn't have to have factories. You didn't have to have lots of employees. You could actually sit in your room from anywhere in the world and generate income. And this blew me away. And so I decided I'd change my life again. And I designed future businesses around that. And then we had massive success. So I wrote a book, became a best-selling author, and wrote this 450-page book in under 20 hours sort of thing. I didn't realize that was actually impossible, but nobody told me it was impossible. So I just did it because I was very lazy and I looked for the easiest route. And then what happened was we built various things, and we were at the point of selling out to a bank, one of our businesses that been built from zero to, I don't know, around 17 million valuation in under 3 years. And my input onto that business was less than a minute a month, so I was quite pleased with that one. And then the credit crunch came along and it changed everything. The whole business was all built around real estate, property investment, and everything I'd done, I'd got three built businesses in that sector already. And of course it all went wrong, and I ended up losing my first fortune. But fortunately, I've got a very good partner, as I know you have, and when I got myself rich, I also built a fortune for my wife. So my fortune went, and fortunately, my wife's fortune remained, or fortunately, well planned rather. And that was it. I just sat back and went, well, what am I going to do with my life now? Sat there, and at the time I was talking to people because I kept a small community site, and I was just chatting with people on it, and they kept asking me, Andy, will you please teach us how to make money? And I thought, that's ridiculous. I've just lost at least, well in excess of $30 million. I cannot teach people how to make money. That would be ludicrous. So I said, well, everyone was also asking me at the time, well, how can you be so happy and joyful at this time when your whole world is crashing down because it's all on the TV and in the papers and all this sort of thing? And I actually got to see the world through the eyes. What had happened was several years before that, I'd realised that I was something was different with the way I thought. I'd always known it, but I was at this seminar and this lady said, only 1% of people succeed, and this just blew me away. And I just started wondering, well, why can I succeed? Why can I do this? Why can whatever I touch work? And why does whatever I touch, whatever other people touch, not seem to work? Not everybody, but just a very tiny percentage. And I sat there, and eventually, when the dark days, I suppose, of 2009, mid-2009, I suddenly realised that I was looking at the world through the eyes of an unsuccessful person for the first time in my life. And because ever since my uncle had set me on the right path, success had been inevitable. It was a done deal. And I saw what was going on inside my mind. And so I got all this, I'd fixed my mind. I went from broken to fixed in 3 weeks. And then from that point on, I was having the most serene, perfect point in my life ever. And I was just sitting there enjoying watching it all go on. And of course, everybody was asking me, how can you be like this? How can you be happy at this time? And of course, happiness is a choice if you can structure your thoughts to, allow happiness to be a choice. Mm. And so I just started writing about that. And pretty soon I was sitting there, and I sat there and figured out what I like to do and what I love to do, and almost went into another business, the wrong business. And I just sat there and I thought, have I got anything to give in this personal development? Because that fascinated me as well, which I'm sure we're going to come on to. But it fascinated me about why people couldn't succeed with personal development books. And so once I figured out why that was, I thought, I've got something to give here. And so I just started writing because I wanted to, nothing more. And then suddenly realised I was actually writing a book, and that turned into 2 books, and it turned into a process, and that was it. So 4.5 years later, it's now in 130 odd countries where we're looking. I know what I'm about to say. I've got to warn you, because I didn't warn you before we went on the call. We can't mention the name of the country that's looking to put this into their education system, but we can talk about that, but we can't mention the name.
I think you mentioned that when we met in Las Vegas, so I have that in mind, so don't worry about it.
No, it's all right. I just can't mention it on the air.
That's
but
okay.
We've since then so we've got a country looking to put this process into their entire education system, because they want the mindsets of their children totally changed and that sort of thing. And so that's me. That's what I do.
If someone wants to really up-level their standard of the quality of life, their vision of personal growth and achievement in terms of business success or family relationships or personal growth, I mean, it's phenomenal. It is transformative.
Since reading the books, I don't judge people. I don't worry about anything. I've got the techniques to, if anything comes into my mind, I think, well, that's not helping me. So I don't worry. I don't get stressed. I live in the now, and just a lot more peaceful. And I just feel that life's going the right way.
I have
found out that things like stress, fear, anxiety, these things are illusions. And when situations come up in your life, if you can actually just refer back to at least learning those things that you've learned through the books, it makes your life much easier, it makes your life better, and it starts, in my case, to put me on a better path.
As everything really valuable in life, most things are really simple, and it's all about, you know, finding the things that you love to do, and the financial benefit is a byproduct of that. Yeah.
Who he is being just speaks volumes. You know, there's a wisdom, there's a knowledge, and there's a real generous sharing of the heart that comes across that makes all the difference in the world.
So his philosophy is different to other personal development books because he shows the practical way of personal development, or his concept.
And one useful thing I've done through reading the books is to actually stop watching TV like a robot, and it's freed up time for me to do things like read books, which I think will do me far more good than just sitting in front of the TV watching a whole string of programs that I never even remember or do me any good, you know.
My mind had been shifted significantly. I understand more about a lot of things. My mind opened more, and I know for sure that by applying these techniques, I'm living my design.
I like the way he delivered it in simple language so that the lay person in it can understand.
There's a system in place that teaches, it shows us that if we, you know, follow these steps and apply it with vigilance and commitment, you know, it's possible to have a real powerful transformation.
Since I've read the books, my worries and fears have all gone. I am 100% happier, and I live my life to the full.
So it gives you a purpose and a sort of focus, and perhaps a start and end point, so you know exactly where you're going to. Because the hardest part of any journey is actually taking the first step.
So, yeah, I do know that it's going to change things radically on all fronts. Whatever you want can happen, actually.
Just do it. You know, it's just to take you to that level. You'll know what you want, or if you don't know what you want, you'll know how to find out what you want. You'll know how to get the things that you want in your life, and you'll have great fun.
We can learn and understand things, but when we actually learn to know it and integrate it and apply it in what we're doing in our lives, anything is possible, and that is so exciting.